You might not like what I'm about to say, but imagine Major League Baseball without the talent and influence of Asian players. Don't even overthink it. Just picture the league without this guy, the two-way phenom who shattered records, redefined what it means to be a complete player, and, oh yeah, is literally the highest paid athlete in Milky Way. Yeah, exactly. It's impossible to picture. But Ohtani is just the tip of the iceberg. Asian players have been rewriting the history books for years and pulling off feats that'll make your jaw hit the ground. I mean, the record for most hits in a single MLB season is held by an Asian player. The fastest pitcher to rack up 1,000 strikeouts, also Asian. And who was the first player to hit the legendary 50-50 mark? You guessed it, Asian. But what would you say if I told you that even after all of that undeniable greatness, no Asian player has ever been inducted into the Hall of Fame? Now, that's a topic for another day. What we want to talk about is some of the incredible Asians that have left their mark on the sport. And if you're new around here, you might want to catch up with part 1 of this series. Oh, and while you're at it, slap that subscribe button so you're always in the loop for the latest MLB scoop. That being said, let's talk Asian baseball. Now, a bunch of Asian players have made their mark in the league. However, very few made a statement the way Lenn Sakata did, and it wasn't just because of his talent. Back in the 1980s, the idea of an Asian player making waves in Major League Baseball was almost unheard of. Sure, Masanori Murakami cracked the door open in 1964 as MLB's first Japanese player, and a few other guys like Mike Lum and Ryan Kurosaki tiptoed through it. But when Lenn Sakata stepped onto the diamond, he really made sure everyone noticed. See, Sakata was a 4th-generation Japanese-American who was born in Honolulu. Wasn't your typical baseball star. He wasn't smashing home runs or stealing headlines with flashy plays. What he brought to the game was a quiet, unshakable reliability. After graduating from Gonzaga University, he signed with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1977 and carved out a reputation as a steady utility infielder. But it was with the Baltimore Orioles that Sakata made history. After graduating from Gonzaga University, he signed with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1977. And while he wasn't the kind of player filling highlight reels, his rock-solid defense and reliability as a second baseman and shortstop made him a valuable utility player. Eventually, he landed with the Baltimore Orioles and became part of baseball history as the first Asian and Asian American to win a World Series after helping the team secure the championship in 1983. Sakata even had a stint with the Yankees in 1987 before hanging up his cleats as a major league player. While Sakata's name might occasionally slip under the radar, there's no ignoring Akinori Otsuka when it comes to the conversation about Asian baseball powerhouses. After years of building his reputation as a dominant reliever for the Chunichi Dragons in Japan, he caught the eye of MLB scouts. And just like the Nippon Ham Fighters did with Ohtani, the Dragons used the posting system to field offers from MLB teams. In 2003, the San Diego Padres won the bidding war and signed him to a 3-year deal. And with that, Otsuka was ready to test his mettle on a bigger stage. His major league debut on April 6, 2004 was a baptism by fire. Facing the Dodgers, Otsuka gave up a walk-off single to Robin Ventura, a tough pill for any newcomer. But instead of folding, he struck out Paul Lo-Duca for his first big league K, a glimpse of the resilience and talent that would define his career. By 2006, Otsuka was with the Texas Rangers, stepping into the closer role after Francisco Cordero stumbled. That year, he racked up 32 saves with a 2.11 ERA. But what really made Otsuka stand out was his unorthodox delivery, which was a slow, deliberate leg lift, a glove tap, and a sudden burst of speed that kept hitters guessing. His fastball-slider combo made sure they stayed that way. Unfortunately, the high of 2006 didn't last. The Rangers signed Eric Gagne in 2007, pushing Otsuka back to a setup role. And by season's end, a devastating shoulder injury marked the premature end of his MLB journey. But Otsuka's influence reached far beyond the confines of the league. As the closer for Japan's 2006 World Baseball Classic Championship team, he delivered under pressure on the global stage, further cementing his legacy as an Asian powerhouse. Another Asian prodigy that really turned heads was Daisuke Matsuzaka, aka Daisuke. See, when Daisuke made his way to the MLB, it was a full-on media frenzy. And while the hype was sky high, Daisuke's story delivered just enough twists and turns to keep things interesting. Before all the MLB madness, Daisuke was tearing it up with the Seibu Lions in Japan. He was so good that he bagged almost all the awards in the book. Rookie of the Year in 1999? Check. Eiji Sawamura Award in 2001? Check. A whopping 108 wins, 2.95 ERA, and 1,355 strikeouts before even turning 27. Triple check. By the time he was ready to test the MLB waters, fans and scouts were practically foaming at the mouth. The bidding war that followed was nothing short of chaotic. Eventually, the Boston Red Sox came out on top, shelling out $51.1 million just for the right to talk to him, followed by a 6-year, $52 million contract. In total, they coughed up a jaw-dropping $103.1 million. For that kind of money, Boston wasn't just expecting a pitcher, they wanted the next big thing. And for a while, Daisuke delivered. In 2007, Matsuzaka's rookie season, he helped the Red Sox secure a World Series title, instantly justifying the hype. But his peak came in 2008, when he went 18-3 with a 2.90 ERA, finishing 4th in Cy Young voting. It looked like Boston had struck gold, and for a moment, Daisuke seemed unstoppable. Then, the injuries started. Slowly but surely, the dominance faded. By the end of his Red Sox tenure, Matsuzaka was more of a what could have been story than the star he once was. His final MLB stop with the Mets didn't move the needle much, leaving him with a career stat line of 56 wins, a 4.45 ERA, and a lingering sense of unfinished business. But Daisuke's story wasn't just about MLB. On the international stage, he was untouchable. Matsuzaka led Japan to back-to-back World Baseball Classic championships in 2006 and 2009, taking home MVP honors both times. Those performances cemented his legacy as one of the best Asian pitchers the game has ever seen. Just like Daisuke, Hideki Okajima was signed by the Red Sox in 2007. Before all of that, though, he was making waves in Japan's Nippon Professional Baseball, pitching for the Yomiuri Giants and the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. Over there, he logged 38 wins, 760 strikeouts, and a solid 3.19 ERA. However, when the Red Sox snagged Hideki, it was easy to overlook him. After all, Daisuke was the headliner, grabbing all the attention with his jaw-dropping hype. But here's the thing, Okajima quietly became one of the most valuable players in Boston's bullpen, proving he wasn't just riding Daisuke's coattails. Okajima's pitching style was pure artistry. His unorthodox delivery, complete with that head tilt that made it look like he was trying to find his lost keys, threw batters completely off their game. Combine that with a wicked changeup, a sneaky fast fastball, and a pitch mix so deceptive it should have come with a warning label, and you had a recipe for dominance. In his rookie MLB season, Okajima hit the ground running. He earned an All-Star nod in 2007 and played a key role in helping the Red Sox secure a World Series title. By the end of the year, he had racked up an impressive 2.22 ERA over 66 appearances. It's no surprise that he's recognized as part of a wave of Asian players that proved they could dominate on baseball's biggest stage. What would be surprising is if we didn't talk about the guy who quietly shocked the MLB the moment he got drafted. And just in case you're wondering, that guy is Hiroki Kuroda. Just like most of the other guys on this list, Kuroda was a star in Japan before he joined the MLB, and when he did, he consistently made jaws drop. In fact, if consistency and quiet dominance were an art form, he'd have a gallery all to himself. Before Kuroda became a trusted arm in Major League Baseball, he was cutting his teeth with the Hiroshima Toyo Carp, a team that's basically the underdog story of Japanese baseball. Drafted in 1996 as a second-round pick, Kuroda initially played second fiddle to Toshikazu Sawazaki, the flashy first-rounder who snagged Rookie of the Year in 1997. But here's the kicker. While Sawazaki fizzled out, Kuroda steadily climbed the ranks. I guess slow and steady really does win the race after all. By 2001, Kuroda was a fixture in the Carp's starting rotation, racking up over 10 wins for 3 straight seasons. In 2003, he earned the title of Ace, stepping into some big shoes and, admittedly, tripping a little out of the gate. But Kuroda being Kuroda, he found his rhythm and wrapped up the season with 13 wins. Over the next few years, he built a reputation as one of Japan's most dependable pitchers, a workhorse who didn't need to throw 100 miles per hour to get the job done. After 11 seasons in Japan, Kuroda decided it was time for a new challenge, declaring his intention to join MLB. Like clockwork, the Dodgers came knocking with a 3-year, $35.3 million deal. And just like that, Kuroda was bringing his steady arm to Los Angeles. From 2008 to 2011, he was the definition of reliable, posting a solid 3.45 ERA and averaging 175 innings per season. He wasn't flashy, just a guy you could count on to show up, deliver, and quietly keep your team in the game. And when it came to the postseason, Kuroda stepped up. His 2 playoff wins in 2008 helped break a 20-year drought for the Dodgers, making him a low-key hero in the process. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the McCourt ownership drama. With the Dodgers pinching pennies, Kuroda was shown the door after 2011, and the Yankees swooped in with a 1-year, $12 million offer. In New York, Kuroda did what he always did, showed up, pitched like a pro, and kept the drama off the mound. Over 3 seasons in pinstripes, he averaged nearly 200 innings a year and proved that even in his late 30s, he could still hang with the best of them. And you can certainly say the same for Koji Uehara. Koji Uehara might not have been built like a powerhouse, but he pitched like one, just without the usual fireworks. If you ever watched him on the mound for the Boston Red Sox, you knew exactly what was coming. Strikes. And not just any strikes. Precision-guided missiles disguised as 84 miles per hour fastballs and wickedly deceptive forkballs. In Game 6 of the 2013 ALCS against the Tigers, Uehara faced the heart of Detroit's lineup and threw 11 pitches. Every single one was a strike. It was almost unfair, like watching a chess master dismantle someone who didn't know the rules. What makes Uehara's story so compelling is how he defied expectations from the start. Unlike his countryman Daisuke Matsuzaka, who arrived in the MLB with fanfare and the weight of being an Ubermensch ace, Uehara found his groove not as a starter but as a reliever. And when he joined Boston, he transformed into something baseball rarely sees, a reliever who was as predictable as he was untouchable. Take his 2013 season, for example. Calling it dominant feels like underselling it. Uehara posted a microscopic ERA, gave up only 9 runs across 74.1 innings, and struck out 101 batters while walking just 9. He wasn't just good, he was historic. His ERA plus of 379 that year ranks among the best in the modern era, and his postseason stats were downright video game levels of absurd. In 13.2 innings, he allowed a single hit, 1 run, and 0 walks. Oh, and he capped it off with a perfectly timed pickoff in the World Series to seal the Red Sox's championship. What made Uehara so special wasn't just the stats though, they were just the cherry on top. It was how he pitched. He didn't overpower hitters, he outsmarted them. His heat topped out in the mid-80s, and hitters knew exactly what was coming. A steady diet of forkballs that seemed to vanish mid-flight. Yet, knowing didn't help. Batter after batter swung through those pitches, helpless against their cartoonishly sudden drop. And then there was Uehara's presence. On the mound, he was all calm, calculated focus, until the final out, when his face would split into an ear-to-ear grin. He wasn't just a machine mowing down hitters, he was joy personified. That joy extended into the dugout, where his infectious energy turned every save into a celebration. In the years that followed, Asian players continued to shine in the MLB, and a few names really stood out. I'm talking about players like Hisashi Iwakuma, Hyunjin Ryu, and Masahiro Tanaka. These guys didn't just join the league, they brought their A game and made sure everyone knew Asia was a force in baseball. Let's start with Iwakuma. He was a steady presence on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, and in 2015, he did something every pitcher dreams of, a no-hitter. It wasn't flashy, just classic Iwakuma, calm, composed, and effective. His ability to consistently deliver made him one of the most reliable pitchers in the league during his time. Then there's Hyunjin Ryu, who made waves first with the Dodgers and later with the Blue Jays. Ryu had this cool vibe on the mound, but don't let that fool you. He was a killer with pinpoint accuracy. In 2019, He led the league in ERA and became an all-star, showing everyone that he wasn't just good, he was elite. And of course, Masahiro Tanaka. This guy came to the Yankees with a ton of hype after dominating in Japan, and he lived up to it. Whether it was the regular season or the playoffs, Tanaka was always reliable, especially when the pressure was on. He had a knack for showing up big in clutch moments, which made him a fan favorite in New York. In more recent years, players like Yusei Kikuchi and Ha Seong Kim have been making waves in the league. Kikuchi, with his sharp left-handed pitching, became an all-star in 2021, while Kim's Gold Glove win in 2023 showed his incredible defensive skills for the Padres. And then there's Shohei Ohtani, who I don't even need to break down because you'd have to be living on Pluto not to know how much he has redefined the league. It's players like him who have shattered stereotypes, changed the narrative, and opened the door wide for the next generation of Asian stars to take the MLB by storm. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments.